Everyone, welcome back to Off the Shelf, where we explore the world of CPG with founders, operators, and marketers who are shaping what's next. I'm Lucas Balassi from Barrel,
I'm Nate Rosen from Express Checkout.
and we're going to wrap up the year here, which is crazy to say. The holidays are upon us right now. I mean,
I can't believe it's December 15th, to be honest.
got my
It's
baby
absurd.
girl coming in exactly 2 weeks.
That's so
So
nice.
preparing for that. Yep. But we figured we would close out the year with some, I don't want to call these hot, I don't know what to call these, Nate. Like, they're not hot takes, they're
Discussion
not
points.
trends. Yeah. To me, I'm like,
Yeah,
it's what we'll be talking about next year. That's what we think we'll be talking about next year. I think that's a good way to put it. What do you
I
think?
think so. Yeah, I think that's a safe way to put it. Yeah, I don't know. Trends, sometimes it's like, okay, like at this point, what is a trend?
Mm-hmm.
Something, I'm sure.
And there's going to be a lot of those coming very soon in the next couple of weeks. I think everybody's going to have trends. So we'll
Oh, yeah,
say
year-end reports, all that kind of
we'll
stuff.
say discussion points for 2026, and then
Yeah.
we could check next year where these actual conversations we were having. But yeah, we've got a bunch to talk about, and we'll close out the year, and then we'll be sharing what's coming next in January. So looking forward to that, and I'll be 2 kids in.
Beautiful.
I'll keep saying I'll be 2 kids in by that point, which will maybe I'll do an episode on that. What's it like now? A couple weeks in with the baby girl.
You can talk about all the products you're using.
That is very true. That is very true.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of
And
products.
what sorts of M&A activity have happened since the first 2.5 years ago? Because that's the reality. Like that is what has happened in some of the baby brands out there. But
Actually, though.
no, it's legit. All right, so let's start. I'll just list out each of these topics and then we can jump right into them. I think the first
Do it.
one that I think we're seeing glimpses of already is retention being, I don't want to say it's the wrong KPI, but it's not about let's build a subscription program in D2C and just see how much we can keep people subscribed, because these brands are everywhere. And so
They have to be, yeah.
this idea that you have to build subscription online and try to retain customers that way only is, I think, abandoning, or it is really getting away from what omnichannel CPG looks like. And the reality is people are going to buy on Amazon, buy in their store, buy online. Maybe they
Yeah.
subscribe with like really big windows, or maybe they subscribe and unsubscribe. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, we're especially now, a couple years post, like, really the end of the COVID couple of years. We're living in a truly omni-channel world where consumers want what's most convenient, and that isn't always direct on a D2C site.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't always the case. I mean, it was during COVID because that's like really all there was. But now there's all these different methods to get things faster to you from other people other than the brand. But also, all these brands are everywhere now. They're not just on their own website, they're on Amazon, they're at Target, they're at Ulta, they're in Sephora, they're in Kroger, they're wherever they are, they're in CVS. So I still think like a lot of brands are going to push subscription because you should push subscriptions. It's nice to know what's coming. But yeah, a lot of these brands are no longer just on their site. They're pushing other channels, and you need to sort of find the consumer. You need to find the consumer where they are, and it isn't always on your site. You want to try to get them back through loyalty programs or special marketing opportunities, or you have your own app and have special drops depending on the product. If it's a food product, I probably wouldn't bother making an app for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a backpack brand selling direct to consumer or selling in a store or whatever, okay, maybe you can have an app to do push notifications. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, I think retention is also just going to look different. It's going to be broader.
And I think what's interesting is, and we talked about this a lot for some of our larger CPG brands who have a decent subscription business,
Yeah.
is there's this, I guess you could call it silent churn, where they actually churn to retail.
Right.
So they're not actually
Still
a
buying the
like,
product.
but if you right, and if you look at it as this e-com team who is only focused on D2C, you're missing the fact that you didn't actually lose the customer. You lost them
Right.
to convenience, true convenience, which is going to the grocery store every week and picking up the product. So I think, this isn't to say subscription, and to your points, like subscription isn't going to continue to grow and be important. I think it is worth investing in for those products that make sense. But I do think there's something here about brands looking more broadly. And I don't know, Nate, from the folks that you've talked about, especially founders building out their teams,
Yeah.
there's still some of these brands who have like e-com team, retail team. And I think that I hope to see it start to dismantle that a little bit next year, because they are so closely related and you need to know what's going on in both to just raise the
Oh,
overall
yeah.
business. I mean, just like we need to grow the business, right?
Right. No, and they should be speaking to each other because I think both from like just a CX perspective, if somebody picks something up in store and is complaining about it, they might go to the website. Like there needs to be more overlap in what the different teams are hearing and seeing across the different channels. But also there's ways to sort of sync them. I mean, there's even tools that you can go to somebody's website and order something and pick it up in store. So there is a lot more overlap now than ever before. And I agree with you. I do hope the teams start to be a little bit less siloed and focus more on just like the brand as a whole. And obviously in their day to day, they're siloed for like building the website or building
Yeah,
the
sure.
retail side. But in terms of actual overarching strategies and communicating between them, yeah, I think we will see a lot more of that.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a great point with CX, because all of those customer complaints, issues, questions should be content that gets put on the website to
Mm-hmm.
capture those customers and
Right.
engage them. And then if you do have subscription or a D2C presence, having exclusive or interesting things that are going to make that person want to interact is going to be key. So yeah, I think ultimately, like, I think this one is really just about, it's not it's not retail Amazon, and then by the way, our site is just subscription, and like that's what we need to optimize for. It's like, hey, people buy everywhere. What Prime Day did, like 24 billion in sales over the
Some
4-day event, something like that.
Yeah,
Like
something
you're,
like
you're
that.
gonna lose sales to these other channels, so it's
Yeah.
it's worth it to be paying attention and just look at how customers interact with your brand everywhere.
Yeah, and I think something we've talked a lot about across a lot of our conversations and offline too is like that this even though people are being more omnichannel than ever before, the website is still a very vital asset to the
Mm-hmm.
business, whether it's somebody scanning QR code on the back of pack and going to the site for more information, somebody discovering it there from a social channel, it just being a way to redistribute consumers who find you from whatever viral moment you have to actually go to the retail stores that you're currently being sold in, and to also just having your loyalty base is there, your thousand true fans, if you're using any of the loyalty platforms and building something on there. So it's an ecosystem, just like how the brands exist in an ecosystem, the brand exists in its own ecosystem of selling opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all, I think it's going to be less siloed in the next year.
And I mean, that was really that the second topic discussion. I think it's really, we've seen this trend of, probably when D2C was like coined as a term with the Warby
Mm-hmm.
Parkers and all of these, Caspers raising, and website became, people over investing. And as an agency that's been around for almost 20 years, we've seen that era of over invest in the site,
Mm-hmm.
and the tools weren't where they needed to be. And then you start to see optimization in tools allowing you to get there faster. Then you see AI. And I think we've gotten past, I hope, and I think we'll see more. We're seeing trends right now in our conversations with clients that I think are pointing in this direction, which is that we've gone from like abandon the website or don't spend a lot of money on it, because it's not important to, hey, this is a real asset for our brand and something
Yeah.
that we need to actually pay attention to, even if we don't sell online. Because to your point, customers are coming there for a ton of different reasons.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, we expect that to be a conversation next year. It's just like website is not just a destination for digital purchases ultimately.
Right. No, and I think especially as we get more into this world where everything is a wellness product or has some functional ingredient, you need the website to be able to discuss and educate the consumer of what the hell they're eating or consuming or putting
Hmm.
on their face. E- Especially with more science-backed products launching, you need to educate the consumer, and the website's a great place to do that. There are a ton of influencers and content creators and other resources, of course, but a lot of people will go to the site. They want, it looks like a primary source. It is a primary source. Um, so it's good that you're seeing this on your end, that brands are becoming a little bit more sophisticated around how they leverage their different assets, including the site, and not just letting that go by the wayside. It is important. It's not, especially for CPG and food and beverage brands in particular, it is a different type of importance than, say,
Yep.
like a Terra Cafe. Terra Cafe's website should be really good because people are going to be buying it there, and maybe Williams Sonoma and maybe Amazon. But the,
Hmm.
the website for hardware and apparel, much different than for the food and beverage space. Um,
Yeah.
it's a different use
A-
case.
And it's interesting because I we call it the brand flagship, and there's some ways that we talk about it. Now we're seeing clients bring that to us, and we don't know, did they see our website today? But
Oh,
it's this
hopefully they saw your
concept
website
that
and like
I'm like, where are the, I'm like,
they're doing their research.
you just never know. But we do believe it's really the only channel that you can fully own and
Right.
manage, because there's no other factors that, I mean, sure, if your internet's slow or there's some bug, but ultimately you're fully in control of it in a way that you're not in any other touch point, which I think is fascinating and
Yeah.
allows you to fully own that experience. Which, one thing I'd offer for brands, and I think again is going to continue to be coming up, and we'll talk about why in this third point. But if you're not selling D2C, even if you are for select products, one thing we're always recommending is that brands put up as much of their catalog as they can that is available in other channels. And the reason
Mhm.
being, those are just ways for people to get to your website. And if they bought something at, your local Whole Foods or Giant, and they want to go get information on that product and that PDP does not exist,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, wait, what is this that I'm like? And brands will be like, well, that's only sold in retail, so don't put it online. But there's a major SEO, and I've had this as a customer. I've dealt with this multiple times with
Same.
brands that we've
Same.
actually. Luckily
Same.
for me, I'm like, two of them we worked with now, and we've done their site, so we fixed this issue. But that's like the most annoying thing as a customer, because you're just looking for that deeper information, you can't find it.
Yeah, and people definitely go to TikTok and YouTube and Reddit, sure, but not every brand is that accessible that it makes its way to those platforms. Most of the times, it's the only information will be available from maybe the retailer, but most
Hmm.
likely just the site. And I think it's, from an SEO perspective, it's definitely a missed opportunity to not be putting um, that retail only SKU on your site. It's fine if it's on your site, especially if you're food and bev. Most of your SKUs will probably be
Yeah, just
retail
link to a
only.
store locator. Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah,
100%.
that's so fine. And then
And
again, especially if there's ingredients and stuff that you need to inform people about what's in it, it should exist from the people who are making it.
and the social piece that you're mentioning
Mm,
is very true. And it's also saying that, okay, if these influencers are out there talking about us and we don't have an influencer program or relationship with them, then whatever they say is what customers will learn, and that's it, which is
Exactly.
crazy
That's a
also.
great No, that's a great point because
But
I've
it's
seen some
like
people talk about brands. I'm like, I don't think that's true about this product.
yeah. Or it's like, "Doesn't taste great, but it's healthy," and you're like, "Do we wanna say that?" Like, is that the
Yeah,
vibe? Um,
right.
which I think, one thing that you and I talked about in putting this list together is email, SMS, and especially AI search, so
Yeah.
GEO. These are
Yep.
now what I like to say to clients is like, these are branding
Yeah.
channel. Like, these are branding assets, and that kind of goes with this idea of other channels where, your website and having a strong PR strategy is now really controlling the narrative in the way that customers interact with your brand.
Yeah.
And so having a strong strategy around even email. I think we're all tired of getting plummeted with emails at all,
God.
all week
Yes.
long. So like, what's the strategy there? And then AI search, what are you doing on your site and impress to actually get the right narrative and value add to customers through the words and the conversation?
Right. And with AI too, it's like you want to make sure that you're getting the right information across that is not going to be misconstrued in any way by the LLM
Mm-hmm.
because my God, sometimes it just makes up shit. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of tough if we're talking about like your brand. You don't want it to make up
Yep.
stuff about you. You want to make sure that it's pulling from the right information, that it's showing up in the right place, it's showing up next to the right brands. Um, yeah, the GEO stuff I think is fascinating. We at Express Checkout, we have a partner who we work with who their whole thing is GEO for CPG brands. It's really interesting. I bet we're going to see a lot more people just like with SEO, the GEO side of things will become very much like that. It's the AI stuff in general, both from like the search, but also the shopping side, because now
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT is integrated with Shopify, Target, Etsy, Sephora, Glossier. Like, well, Glossier
Yeah.
is through the Shopify thing, but within ChatGPT, you can now find stuff on somebody's website and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So, website is still kind of important, especially now for like it's
Even if you never
pulling
get to it. Yeah.
because now if more people are using
Yeah.
AI, they find your site whether through the search function or through actually like you deciding to integrate your Shopify store within ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things matter. And then yeah,
And
email and SMS are table stakes at this point.
right, 100%. But I think what is, the reason that I think it's important for brands to think about those is it's, again, like, don't just turn it on and
Right.
say, "We're doing SMS and we're sending campaigns, we're good." It's like, where is the customer at when they're getting those texts or those emails? What do you want them to do? Because by AI search and social and TikTok and all, you're just adding channels and interaction opportunities for brands. So you really have to dial in, like, where is it most important for us to show up? Who are
Right.
we showing up for, and what is the idea? Because your emails could be just about promos, or it could just be about content. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, but
Right.
what is it? And I've seen brands do really smart, like, content SMS where it's like tips for your week,
Yeah.
So it just, like, it forces you to go, why do we do these things, right?
Yeah. And the email and SMS copy and content can be very different than your other social content because most likely it is going to be a different type of consumer who's consuming that. It's so funny whenever I talk about email and SMS, I'm the kind of consumer who just ignores all of that,
Mhm.
which is so funny because I know a bunch of people who who create the emails and who strategize about the emails and run the email marketing companies and tools and SMS tools. And I'm like, I delete all of it. I
Stop. 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 That's
stop.
the
Oh,
yeah.
it's I'm not the consumer for it, but I know a lot of
Yeah.
people who are. I know my parents do. I I get messages sometimes like, oh, I just got this email from this brand. They're doing this. I'm like, okay, so like, and I've also seen the numbers from behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes. Clearly, people are
Yep.
leveraging these tools to grow their business. It's just not me. One thing that I still think is really interesting, but it's a very limited use case is in-app notifications. So I use this
Mm-hmm.
app and website called Marty. It is a wholesale like marketplace for CPG brands. I love Marty. I think it's great. Their push notifications get me every time because it's there. It's on my phone. It goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like less intrusive to me than like an SMS or email. For me as a consumer, I like
Mm-hmm.
that. But also, most people don't have apps.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like it's funny that apps that you want are like the Amazon. Like there are, I think we
Yeah.
forget like the stuff that's become so commonplace.
Oh
Apps are
yeah.
great. So Marty makes sense to me. I mean, that's like a great example.
Yeah.
Um, so moving into more industry topics. I mean, these are all industry, but about the brands and the products themselves. You mentioned it earlier, Nate, but better for you.
Better for you.
Is it just CPG at this point?
It's basically anything new is better for you. And I it's so funny because like when you really think about better for you, so it's arguably a very vague term
Uh-huh.
because
Who is
what does
you, by
that
the way? Yeah, who is
who's
you?
you? What do you mean? I I like to think a lot of the products now are like I almost would say leaning healthier, but even that's like not fully correct. They're yeah, it's lost a lot of meaning, especially because every other product is a better for you chip or
Right.
soda or whatever. I do like the trend of like better products, like better
Mm-hmm.
ingredients or a better branding or better positioning. Not necessarily better for you in any way. Like there's like Bite 'em brownies. Like it's a very good, it's a great brownie company.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Better
better.
ingredient,
It yeah, it's
but it's
not
not better
better
for you.
for
Yeah.
you because it's still a brownie. Like there's no, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no going around that. But it's like I feel like I've seen some brands use better for you, and I'm like, in what sense?
Yeah.
Bite hasn't, but like I think the it's a better product rather than
Yeah. You
better
know,
for you.
it's interesting because the shortcuts that exist for better for you,
Mm,
because you can hack protein or
yeah,
calories or carbs or whatever it is by using different chemicals and other fillers that are not, are not healthy, but
right,
they are better if that's what you're optimizing for, which I think
right,
is what you're getting at is like, what are you optimizing for? And I think GLP-1 is here to stay. And so these brands are trying to navigate what that looks like for those customers as that group of consumers
yeah,
continues to grow. Um, one thing that I thought was interesting is this idea of what the customer is thinking about, which is often in that world just like, is it worth it? Which Bite 'em is a great example. I mean, I love
so
those
worth
guys.
it.
I love that we're talking about it, but it's like that's what you're asking, right? You're just like, is it worth it? And maybe it's healthier than the other brownies that are out there, but
Yeah.
it's just like, is it worth me to eat these calories right now?
Yeah. And I think
Yes
that's
or
where the
no?
I mean, yes,
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, I know you're always gonna say yes, Nate.
Rhetorical. But
Yeah, we've had
I think
that.
that's what makes some of these newer brands really interesting is that they can create a better product. It's maybe it's comparable in price or a little bit more. Maybe it's even a little bit more indulgent, but you're gonna have a little bit less because it has more natural ingredients or more real ingredients, whatever it is. So like instead of having, let's stick with the brownie thing, like I could down a ton of little Debbie's
Mm-hmm.
because are those even food?
Mm-hmm.
And then with Bite, I'm like, they're very addicting. But they're kind of they're a little more filling. They feel more satisfying having fewer almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is also a better that can also be seen as a better for you product where yes, the product is loaded with sugar or fat or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but because it's higher quality and maybe more indulgent and less designed to be addictive, you're going to have less of it, but still be as or more satisfied than having,
Right.
I
Satiating
don't
for
know, maybe
sure.
it's like a tub of Breyers versus a tub of Van Leeuwen.
Hmm.
I'll probably have less Van Leeuwen because it's higher milk fat and a little bit uh higher quality versus like it's easy to eat a tub of Breyers or Eddie's depending on what part of the country
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
on because it's got a lot of air and like oftentimes it's not even technically ice cream.
Yeah.
Um
Scary.
so yeah, I think we'll continue to see the better for you just proliferate into any new brand, whether
Yeah.
it's contains fiber or a functional ingredient or low sugar and whatever that means too, because that could be the sugar alcohols or just
Hmm.
actually no sugar.
Which, we'll move on to the next one. But before that, I will say I love the constraints it's creating on brands and
Yeah.
people entering the space. I remember on one of our first episodes, you talked about Real Z. I'm
Mhm.
also like, That's It kind of falls into that category. We had them on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show, but it's like you also have people saying, hey, let's just look at like fruits and vegetables and just figure out how to get people to just eat those.
yeah.
Like, but can we make them more convenient? Can we add a little chocolate? Can we do these other things where I'm just like, it's crazy when you buy, I had Real Z's after we spoke, and I'm like, you're just literally eating a date in a
Yeah,
container,
yeah,
and it's like a product. But I mean, they're obviously they've added chocolate and stuff, but super cool and excited to see. I think that's going to be another big part of what we see popping up in 2026.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, 100%.
you did a great episode on the Express Checkout Curious Consumer
Consumer.
about private label, and I felt like that had to make it to this list because
Yeah.
private label is no longer just like the cheaper option, just buy it because it's cheap. It's
No.
got, I think I have it here actually. I was gonna do a post about this. So for anyone who listens to this later, but I have this Costco magazine,
Oh my
and
god.
I buy frozen blueberries from Costco, and they have a whole sourcing story, Nate. I mean, it's unbelievable
Yeah.
of how they source these blueberries, and it's like super emotional and interesting. And I'm like, this is private label right here.
Yeah. Costco and Trader Joe's, those two in particular, have really primed the consumer
There you
to
go. I
know
left
the
it this
quality. There you go. To
Yeah,
know the
it's like this
quality,
whole two-page
the
story.
potential quality of private label. Um, it's blossomed over the past year. I mean, we've seen retailers like Walmart add new private label brands like Better Goods, which is their like higher end. It's basically the same as Good and Gather. It's very
Mhm.
similar, similar vibes. Uh, and they've added a bunch of like better for you products and fun and unique products. And it's like one of the fastest growing private label brands in the market. It's been out for like a year, maybe, and it's already in the billions. Target obviously has always had really good private label brands. That has grown as well. They do close to 40 billion a year of their annual
Yeah.
revenue is in private label. Like it's a mix of price sensitivity. It's a mix of really good marketing and branding of these private label products. It's just the vast number of them which I think has allowed consumers to feel good about them, that
Uh-huh.
they're just as good as the name brand. And I think there's just been a lot of discourse around people like having fun finding dupes that are the same. Sometimes they legitimately are the same.
I
Like,
I can't say who, but we've been chatting with a client who, as they were telling me about their product, I'm like, "Wait, do you private
yeah.
label X retailer?" And they're like, "Let me look." And they're like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Okay, I am a customer." And then
Right.
I sent them a photo of their product next to in the store where I buy them, and it's like $3 more for their
Of
product.
course.
And I'm like, this is the challenge posed to brands in today and into the future is what's going to make a customer buy. Everything that we've talked about ahead of this is like you need to answer those questions and be ahead of it because what's going to make a customer buy your brand?
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't know.
it's yeah, that's the yeah, it's crazy, and it's I think this happened with like the consistent rise of Trader Joe's and people being like, oh, their pita chips are Stacy's pita chips, and their green smoothie is Adwala, and like figuring it out and finding it is
Hmm.
really interesting. And I think people, I think another reason is people like the game of it. They like finding the dupe.
Hmm. And
I
what's
like finding it.
yeah, I mean, all the CPG, I could call us nerds. CPG nerds are
Sure.
out there trying to figure out what it is, and I think it begs the question. A lot of the CPG brands we talk about or talk to at Barrel, private label is as high as 50% or more of their business. So I think it also just begs the question, like, where to focus.
Yeah.
And our last number 6 theme here is a little bit of that. I think what's happening is we've talked a lot about AI and email and all these other channels, but you also have like Instacart. And
Yes.
so one thing that is going to continue to happen is algorithms being what dictates purchase of customers. If you order on Instacart and you order every single week or every 2 weeks, whatever it is, they're showing you all of your past orders. Amazon's doing the same
Yeah.
thing. And then other products that might be similar. So you're immediately cutting out a lot, a ton of other brands, right?
Right.
And so if you throw private label into the mix, I mean, these brands, it's all about focus and pruning. It's an argument, I think, to be made for continued focus in your catalog as to what you do
Yeah.
best and making
Yes.
that the winner.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you find a product, you build a product, you find that it's like working, you focus as much as you can on making that as big as you can. And then down the line you can innovate a bit more, you can have more fun with it. It's really hard to build a suite of different products that are all sort of different from each other.
Hmm.
Not like a chip in 4 different flavors. I mean like a chip and then a frozen burrito and a salsa. Like, yes, eventually you should have a suite of products. I think that's great. The retailers like that. They like when you can merchandise the shelves like that. But as you're growing, you don't want to lose focus. You don't want to lose market share on what's working. You need to grow that. And I get it. It's easy. Shiny object syndrome. It's hard not to.
Hmm.
I fall into that all the time.
Hmm. I I think the what's it, I'll use the word scary because it is that I've heard Instacart talking about like the physical, what's the name of those physical carts?
Casper.
Is it Casper?
I think so.
Who's Casper? I
Casper
think.
carts?
Oh, Casper. Is it a Caper? Caper. I knew it was
Caper. Oh,
US.
that
Yeah,
makes more
Caper
sense
cart.
than Casper.
Yes.
I was close.
Um, but
The
they
Caper
talk
carts are cool.
about bringing that app experience into the store through the cart where you walk around. It helps you find what you're looking for. It suggests products that are in that aisle. All of this to say that if your SKU is low performing, it's just going to be gone. Like
Oh yeah,
retailers are just be,
disappear.
hey, this is like it's gone. And so I think this idea of brand and focus is so important because if people may just not know that it exists either. And so it's like, how do you stay focused, do what you're doing well,
Right.
and continue to amplify that, not just add more because you're expecting that that's going to get you where you want to go.
Right. I mean, I think a good example of this and is Graza's one that comes to mind. You know, they have 2 SKUs in plastic and glass. Then they also have a frying one. Like, yes, they've had fun partnerships,
Hmm.
marketing activations,
What's a great
different.
way to test something? It's like an easy,
Right.
no commitment
But
way, right?
they haven't, other than like some of their crazy merchandising all over the grocery stores. They're very focused on what they're doing well. Their expansion to frying oil makes a ton of sense. Their thing to glass, like barely a change in their business, really, besides maybe insurance for shipping.
Hmm.
Um, But they are a good example of a brand that's like, yes, they've grown a lot. Yes, they've gotten a lot of eyeballs on them. Yes, they've raised a lot of money, but they're still being very focused
It's
and
incredible. Yeah.
biding their time until they can start to expand a bit more into balsamics and vinegars and maybe other olive oil based dressings and dips. They're biding their time. At least that's what it looks like from the outside. I could always be wrong, but I I think it's really expensive to grow, and it also can be a big distraction to have such a large base of products right out the gate in your first
Yeah.
couple of years.
And fatigue, customers are
Fatigue,
already having a
yeah,
tough time choosing what to buy, not landing at a brand and having 15 other choices when they just learned about you. It just gets stressful.
yeah,
All right, well, this has been great. I'm going to put you on the spot.
yeah.
So you've got Express Checkout dropping today, very shortly,
Today, very
every
shortly.
Monday. Any hot headlines that you can peek like we did before for people who are not yet subscribed and listening to this and need to jump in and be
Yes.
ready for the deets?
So what's a good one? There's so many. Um, I think a big one that I've seen on my TikTok a lot is Oreo's launching a zero sugar cookie or launched a zero sugar cookie. Some people have opinions. Some people are scared of the sugar alcohols. Uh, I'm just surprised how long it's taken them to do this.
Mm,
It's like taking them forever. But the thing that I've seen big in the discourse is people are scared the sugar alcohols are going to give them the runs.
that's pretty good. That is pretty good. I'm looking at their website. 2.8 stars out of 5. I'm on the
Oh, already?
Oreo website
Damn.
already. Poor ingredients. Why are you using sucralose, which is really not good for you?
Okay, which is so funny because this is an
Um,
Oreo. What do you expect them to
this is
use?
this is perfect, Nate, for our conversation. Don't let
Like,
the zero sugar label fool you.
okay,
Poor
Jen and I
ingredients.
talked about this in our newsletter. It's going to come up, but like a lot of protein bars that these people probably love also use sucralose and maltol, whatever. Like
People
it,
people take a closer eye to these. It's crazy, like to these sort of things versus what their entry point into Oreo is. This is not good for you. Oreo tries to do something better, so now they're like, let's. But you know what I'm saying? And then they buy a
but
protein bar that they think is already good for me,
right.
so they don't even look at the ingredients. I mean, that
But
is how
also,
how it works.
you're saying this zero sugar Oreo is not good for you? Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be, but like somebody who needs a zero sugar thing but still wants an indulgent treat, it's
Just eat the
fine.
Oreo. Yeah,
But
exactly.
Oreo's not healthy either.
Sidebar: I didn't realize how many Oreo flavors there are. I think it was Halloween, maybe, that I was like, wait, there's like a peanut
Uh-huh.
butter Oreo
Their
thing, like
LTO
crazy
game
stuff.
is incredible.
Unbelievable.
I love it, honestly. My favorite Oreo is the Oreo Thins tiramisu flavor.
Oh wow, man, I got to get on this.
I don't know if it's healthier. I just like the thin
None
and
of them are
crunchy.
healthy, like you said, Nate. I mean, their site is nice. I'm impressed. This
Yeah.
is like you can do an Oreo ID. Incredible.
It's the discourse around the bigger brands versus the smaller brands versus what people think is healthy versus not healthy. It's like not everything's for you, for one. Two, it's like I don't know. I've made this rant before that I think Oreos and Cheetos and these unhealthy things, I think they should exist. I think the way they're marketed is dangerous. I don't think the
Hmm.
product is dangerous necessarily.
No, exactly. Because I mean, if you're eating anything like that every single day or even week,
Yeah,
high amounts, or when you're too little, I mean, these could be problems. I
100%.
mean, little meaning child, but
Yes,
ultimately, like we have alcohol, wine, we have these things that exist that are
arguably worse.
right, and you don't, it's the same thing. Like you shouldn't be doing that every single night, but
Right.
it's the same deal. Anything
Yeah.
else as our final piece? We're
Yeah,
pretty good
I,
on
I
time,
think
but
this one is very interesting. So Stephen Ellsworth, who is the Poppy co-founder, with his wife,
hmm
he is joining this new holding company, CPG holding company called Dropout Companies,
Yeah.
as an operating partner. So Dropout currently has two better for you nostalgic leaning CPG brands. They have Jams, which is on the market right now. They're an Uncrustables competitor. They're already in Walmarts and Targets. They're higher protein, I think lower sugar. Then they're also launching this company called Bronco, which will
And
be
if
frozen bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches.
and if you go to that site, I believe there's just a timer, which is epic.
It's just a timer.
Just counting
Um,
down.
so I think this is really interesting. I always love to see what is it, holding co's or house of brands are
Yep.
doing. Because that's how big CPG works. Like
Mm-hmm.
you leverage sort of the community of brands you've built and own. I'm very curious to see how this goes. I'm curious to see if Uncrustables sues Jams because they've sued like every other one that's duped them. I think maybe except Rudy's. Um, but I clearly like Steven helped build Poppy. He seems to know what he's doing. This bet seems to be good validation for them.
Yeah, super exciting to watch. I think it's one of those things that I think we'll see unfold very quickly next year.
Yes. Yeah.
You've come from,
Also, sorry.
I was just say seasoned team,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
It's a great way to do it. I'm just excited that they're launching more Frozen stuff. I like Frozen.
Yeah. You also love Uncrustables, don't you? Or Rudy's?
Of course I love
Yeah.
Uncrustable. I
remember
do very much like Rudy's.
Rudy's was great.
Who
Rudy's
wouldn't
was
like an
so good.
Uncrustable? It's a
Yeah.
PB&J sandwich.
Yeah. It is like so nostalgic.
They're good for you.
They should do a little collab with Stillers. I'm getting a lot of Stillers vibes from their stuff. Dropout.
It's the nostalgia. I don't know what I could probably, if I thought about it more, what era they're going for, but it is
Yeah,
pretty
it's
nostalgic.
nostalgia, but it's also like, I'm on their site. I love Jams. It's just like dye-free, trans fat free, cholesterol free. It's not about like we're saying, here's a better for like you should eat this. It's like this
Right.
is just a better version than what's out there.
Yeah.
With higher protein, like jelly made with real fruit, 6 grams of total sugar. This is great.
It's a Trojan horse where it's introducing something that's better for you, but it's not screaming it from the rooftops and it's not presenting itself fully as that, which I think that's the way you grow in mass retail for these brands is you don't actually lead with the healthy stuff. You lead with this is fun and tasty.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, it has X, Y, and Z and doesn't have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and just enjoy it.
Yeah. We should be enjoying this stuff.
You should be. You really should. Go get yourself a PB&J at Target or Walmart. I got to get one of these.
Oh, so
Target
good.
and Walmart.
Use GoPuff.
Oh yeah, that's true. See, that's that New York lifestyle over there, Nate. Although you have bodegas on every corner, it's like just order some groceries.
I mean, I am Instacarting some groceries as we speak.
Nice. Beautiful. Cool. Well, thanks, Nate. This has been good. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in. This is episode 10. Insane.
Crazy.
Go check out Express Checkout, Nate's newsletter. If you don't know anyone tuning in, I'm Lucas from Barrel. We work with CPG brands on digital strategy and really creating an ecosystem that best reflects who you are. So you can check us out at barrelandwide.com.
Wow.
Oh, did you like that?
I like that. Yeah, that was very...
I gotta take it out of this podcast and put it somewhere.
It's very beautiful.
Thanks. Well, hope you all have a good week. Thanks for tuning in.